Thank you. She's just started. Oh, I've lost Di. Let's just see if she'll come back in. Otherwise, welcome to Julie. So we're going to start seated, Philippa, if you want to come down to a seated pose. Let's hope we've got Di coming back in a minute. And have a block handy, that's it. Yeah, that's a good one to sit on. And we're going to be doing our pigeon pose later.
Sorry,
oh, what happened?
I pressed the wrong one. I didn't have my glasses on.
I'm glad it's not only me. But, yeah. Right, so you're both feeling okay tonight, are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Yeah, good. So we're going to be working on our hips tonight, and we're going to come into pigeon pose, but I'm going to give you lots of options for it. So don't worry if it's not one of your favorites. I'm going to show you lots of ways to get into it. So come to a seated pose, a seated position. I'll just mute you just to make sure we get the best sound. And if you want to talk to me, you know what you need to do. Oops, I better just bring myself up a bit bigger on the screen for Julie. That's it, brilliant. So in your seated position, whatever that is, whether it's legs out in front or sitting cross-legged, you decide. This is all about you. You do whatever feels the best. And we're going to start with a breathing practice. So find that upright spine. Just relax your shoulders, first of all. And find that upright spine. And as you do that, just feel how that encourages you to tuck your tummy muscles in. That will support your lower back and prevent you from having that dip in the back, which is not what we want. And then just relax your shoulders. So let go, use your exhalation to let go of any tension there. And just imagine that I'm pulling you up by the crown of your head. So that will make you think about the position of your chin. So your chin should be parallel to the floor. We're not lifting it and we're not dropping it. Parallel. We're going to do some Nadi Shodhana breathing tonight, which is alternate nostril breathing. So our left hand can stay where it is. We're going to need our right hand. So it's the ring finger and the thumb. And I like to, get the words out, use my first finger and middle finger to rest on my forehead. But if you read some of the yoga books, they tell you to tuck those fingers down and just have your thumb and your finger, and then you rotate like this. So you decide what's best for you. The reason why I like my thumb, my first finger and my middle finger up, because you can just gently rest them on your forehead. And then that seems to guide your thumb and your ring finger as you move them from one nostril to the other. And your little finger doesn't do anything here. You can just let that hang. So with our Nadi Shodhana, we breathe in through one nostril, and then we exhale, closing the other nostril, breathing out. So I'll talk you through it. So use your ring finger to close your left nostril. Inhale through the right. Close the right with the thumb. Exhale through the left. Inhale left. Close the left nostril. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close the right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close the left. Exhale right. So I'm going to let you carry on at your own pace now, inhaling, closing the nostril, exhaling through the other side. Inhaling through that side you've just exhaled from. Exhale from the opposite side. Carry on with that breath. Alternate nostril breathing. Nadi Shodhana. So Nadi means channel or flow in Sanskrit. Sometimes we see it represented as flow. And Shodhana means purification. So as you're breathing in through one side, breathing out through the other, see if you can focus on that feeling, that purification. Does your mind feel clearer as you take your next breath in? And this is a really good breathing practice for lowering stress, calming the body, for creating balance in the body, with balance in the left and right side of the brain. And it also helps us if anybody does suffer with any respiratory allergies like hay fever. It helps with that. Take a few more breaths. And then the next time you exhale on the left-hand side, just drop your hands to your legs and just allow your breath to return to its normal pattern. Breathing in through both nostrils. And just sit here for a moment and observe how are you feeling. Can you feel any of those benefits? Reducing the stress and the tension. Feeling more balanced. Purifying the head. It's an incredible thing when we just take a few moments to ourselves to just do a little breathing practice like this. So on your next exhalation, just allow your chin to drop towards your chest. Just feel that lovely stretch through the back of the neck. And really relax your shoulders down here. So you're adding to that side stretch down the sides of the neck. Keep breathing. And then your next inhalation, lift your head and open your eyes. Welcome to class. So let's get some movement going. So take a deep breath in and reach your hands up and overhead. So think about this extension here. Think about what's actually stretching. You're reaching out of your shoulders. You're not creating tension in your neck or your jaw. Take a breath here. And as you exhale, start to turn towards the right and then allow your hands to float down to the mat, or maybe your left hand wants to rest on your right knee. So just starting to bring a little twist in here, looking over your right shoulder. As you breathe in, ease off on that twist, And as you breathe out, maybe you can twist a little bit more to the right. Use your hands to help you. So your left hand can just be gently pressing against the left knee and the right hand on the mat. And then inhale, float your hands back up, and exhale all the way back to the center. Release your hands. So you might be feeling a little bit unbalanced here. So let's correct that with the other side. So inhale, reach your hands up. Your palms are facing each other. Remember, we don't want that tension in the neck. Exhale, over to the left. Release your hands. Left hand behind you, right hand just above your left knee. Gazing over your left shoulder. Still find that release in the shoulders. Relax the shoulders down. As you inhale, ease off the twist. And as you exhale, look further over the shoulder. Inhale, reach your hands up. Bring yourself back to center. Exhale, release. Well done. So take your hands out to the side now. Have the fingertips on the mat. Still sitting up straight and tall. Tummy muscles engaged. So just feel your right fingertips on the mat and take a deep breath in. Float the left hand up. And as you exhale, just walk the right fingertips out. So we're not doing anything with the body other than allowing it to drop towards the side as you walk the hands out. And you start to feel that stretch down the left side of the body. See if you can keep your left knee towards the mat if you're sitting in a crossed leg position. So we're working into the side body and all the way down to the side, to the left hip. And then inhale, start to walk that fingers back. Exhale the hand back to the mat. Let's do the same on the other side. Inhale the right hand up. Exhale, just walking those fingers out. Nothing's happening with the rest of our body here. We're just walking the hands out and then the body will naturally extend out to the left side. The weight of this right arm is helping to work into that stretch. Keep your right hip as close to the mat or your block as you can. Inhale, walk your fingertips back. Exhale, release. So change the cross of your feet now. So you've been in that crossed leg position for a while, so have a different leg in front. It'll feel strange because this isn't the way that you would normally do it. And if this causes you any discomfort, then use your blocks or cushions to give you a little bit of a prop. So my right hip's playing up at the moment, so I just put a block under my hip, and that helps with that hip. So we're going to do some seated cat-cows now. So place your palms on your knees. So your arms are quite strong here. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, send your back towards the back of the room, drop your chin to your chest. So you're finding that cat stretch. You're just round in the back, chin is coming towards the chest, arms are coming towards straight. Take a breath in. As you exhale, start to slide your palms over your legs as you lead with your chin and your chest. You're coming into cow pose. So it's gentle. We can't get quite so much movement as we sit here. Take a breath in. Exhale, come back to cat. Inhale. Exhale, send your chin and your chest forward. Cow pose. Once more, inhale. Exhale, round the spine. Tuck that chin. Really try to open through all the vertebrae of the spine. Inhale. Exhale to cow. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, come back to upright position. So we're going to come into our Kapotanasana now, which is a really good hip opener. So you can stay on your block or sit on the mat, whichever is best for you. And what we want to do is put the soles of our feet together. Now again, if this is causing any discomfort, use your blocks or cushions to go under your hip or your knee, wherever it is that's causing the problem. And hopefully you've got another block spare, because we're going to need that in a moment. But just interlace your fingers around your toes and then draw your spine up to that nice, long, straight spine. Relax the shoulders. Breathing in, sending the breath all the way down towards your inner groins. And as you exhale, just allow the knees to drop open just a little bit further. So use that exhalation. When we exhale, we relax our muscles. And sometimes it helps if you close your eyes when you're doing this. You can visualize those muscles moving. Take a few nice deep breaths here. And remember, sometimes when we do a stretch like this and you think, oh, I'm creating some tension around my hips, which is obviously what we want to release, you sometimes send the tension elsewhere. So don't have tension in your shoulders. Let them go. We're enjoying this practice. We don't want to be in any form of discomfort. And then on your next inhalation, just bring your knees back towards each other. Use your hands to help that. And we're just going to ease out through our hips before we come to the next little stretch. So take your hands behind you and just allow your knees to drop towards the side. So just breathing in, rolling over the hips, easing them out. Releasing the knees to the side mat. So you're rolling over your buttocks here. You can feel how that's working into the buttocks. And then bring yourself back to Kapotanasana. Soles of the feet together. And this time we're going to take our block and we're going to place it just in front of our toes. So what we're going to try to do is walk our hands forward and release our head towards that block. Now, if that is not possible, and it feels a little bit impossible to me this evening because I've got this tight hip, so you can take your feet on the other side of the block and just have the feet a little bit further away. So as you do that, you're not putting so much tension on the hips. So you decide where it feels best, where you're getting most stretch. This is going to be good for me tonight with the block in front of my heels. So take your hands, thinking about it, with my bad eye and my bad hip, I'm sort of falling apart. I'm not a good advert for a yoga teacher at the moment. So anyway, let's take your hands down to the mat. Take a breath in And as you exhale, walk those fingers away and see if you can allow your head to rest on that block. Make the necessary adjustments to make that happen. That's it, you're looking good. So release the feet further away if that's best for you. And drop your forehead down to the mat. So this should feel quite comforting. And your hands, you can just rest them around your toes. You're resting your forehead on that block. So it's like when we do child's pose and we release our forehead down to the mat. We're making that connection with the vagus nerve. Releasing the parasympathetic nervous system. Just allowing everything to release. Breathing into those hips. And then very slowly, bring yourself back upright, move your block out of the way and help your knees to come back together. And we're going to do a little release for those hips once more. So this time, take your hands behind you and have your feet a little bit wider, so about hip distance apart. And we're going to do the 90-90 pose. So what you do is you drop your knees both over to the right-hand side and your right heel should be just cupping the left knee. And the 90-90 comes from the 90 degrees from your femur down to your lower leg here. So think about 90 degrees on both legs. So when you're in that position, relax into the shoulders, inhale, draw the legs up, just roll over the feet, exhale to the other side, and the knee should land in the right place to the other foot. Take a breath in, draw the knees up, exhale them over to the other side. So we're getting that nice rolling movement over the hips once more. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhaling up, exhaling down. And then bring your knees back up into a semi-supine position. So we're going to do another little release for those hips. So come to your mat in this bent knee position. We're keeping our back upright for the moment. We're going to take our hands behind us with the fingers pointing forward. So the hands are just a little way behind your hips. Plant your feet into the mat. Have them about hip distance apart. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, drop your chin towards your chest and lift your hips. So come into this reversed tabletop position. Inhale, release your hips back down. Just take a breath here before we try it again. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Exhale, float the hips up. Inhale and release them all the way back to the mat. Do that once more. Just take a breath to ground yourself. Then on your next exhalation, float the hips up. Inhale them down. Well done. Just drop your head towards your knees and take your arms around your shins. Just come into your cosmic egg. Just give your legs a bit of a hug. And then release. So lie back on the mat. Have your feet so that they're just quite close to your hips. You're bringing your heels in towards your hips and your knees are hip distance apart. And with your inhalation, bend your right knee up and over your chest and exhale and place the right ankle just below the left knee. So the right foot is pointing out to the side. So take a breath in here. And as you exhale, reach your hands through the gap. So your right hand goes through the gap of the legs. The left hand comes around behind and you're interlacing your fingers. You might need to lift your head to do this. And then as you rest your head back on the mat, see if you can float your left leg up to the ceiling. So we're using our right elbow to encourage that opening in the right hip. So the right elbow is just resting on the inside of the right thigh. And think about the back of your head. That should be resting on the mat. We're not tilting up towards the crown. Rest your shoulders down. So this pose is called Supta Kapotanasana, which is reclined pigeon pose. If you think about what we do in pigeon, this is very much this move, but obviously the other way around as we're on the mat. Take a breath in. Exhale, release the left leg, release the hands and the right leg. And just have a little rock from side to side. Ease out the sides of those hips. The muscle that comes at the side of our hips here is called the TFL, the tensor fascia lata muscle. That's the one that's tight in my case on my right side. So this movement here is really good for easing into that muscle. And then bring your knees back to that upright position. We're going to do the same on the other side. So as you inhale, draw your left knee in towards your chest. Exhale, place the ankle just below your right knee. Inhale, lift your head and your upper back as you reach your hands through, interlace the fingers. Exhale the leg up into the air. Use that left elbow to open out the knee to the left-hand side. Working into that left hip this time. Relax your shoulders. Keep breathing. Supta Kapotanasana. Reclined pigeon. And then on your next exhalation, allow your right leg to come down, release the left leg. Just have a little roll once more, side to side. And then bring your knees up and over your chest and interlace your fingers behind your thighs. Have a little roll back and forth, starting to release the vertebra all the way from your lower back up to your neck. And then bring yourself up to seated. Cross your feet at the ankles and roll over so you can release your feet behind you. And we want to take our knees out wide, toes together, and we're sinking back into child's pose. So allow your head to come down to the mat or rest it on the block. Brilliant. So feel that opening through the back body. And see if you can use the palms of your hands to press into the mat, but as if you're trying to push the mat away from you and lengthen the mat. So you're stretching it away. And as you do that, you'll have that feeling that you're sending your hips nearer to your heels. So if you think about that action, sliding the palms away along the mat, sending the hips in the opposite direction. So child's pose can become quite an active pose as well as a resting pose. And then inhale and bring yourself back up to all fours. Both okay? Excellent. So have your hands underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips. We're just going to do another little bit of movement into our hips. So taking a breath in, engage your tummy muscles, and as you exhale, send your right knee out to the side. So think about your back here. We're keeping that nice and straight. Inhale, draw the knee to the opposite knee. Exhale, send the leg all the way back behind you. Inhale, bring the knee back down to the mat. So it's 3 movements, and we're going to do it slowly with our breath. Inhale, exhale out to the side without dropping to the left. Inhale, draw it in towards your left knee. Exhale, extend it behind you. Inhale, draw it back down to the mat. Exhale, out to the side. Inhale, knee to knee. Exhale, out behind you. Inhale, back to the mat. Well done. So let's do the other side, same pattern. Breathing in, keeping that rock steady back here. Exhale, leg out to the side as a bent knee. Inhale, draw the knee to the other knee. Exhale, send it out behind you. Inhale, bring it in, place it on the mat. Exhale, send it out to the side. Inhale, knee to the opposite knee. Exhale, send it out behind. Inhale, bring it to the mat. Once more. Exhale, out to the side. Inhale, knee to knee. Exhale, straighten that leg behind you. Inhale, bring it down to the mat. Back to our all fours position. Just sit back on your heels for a moment and just release your hands and rotate through those wrists. Just easing out. And we're going to try another little hip opener. So place your hands down on the mat in front of you and see if you can send your toes out to the side. So we're starting to sit between that gap. Bring yourself up first of all, and then see if you can sit back through that gap with the toes to the side. So it's quite strong on the hips. And if this is not good for you at all, have your block between your feet and sit back onto the block. So this is frog pose. So we're rotating our thighs inwards We're sending our feet out to the side and we're sitting our hips back. Just easing back, breathing into that pose. Don't worry if they don't come anywhere near the floor. Just encourage that bit more opening into the hips. And then bring yourself back up. Bring your knees back into alignment. And sit back onto the heels. That's Kapotanasana, frog pose. Always, all these poses are really good preparation for opening the hips and when we get to pigeon, which we're going to do now. So take your hands onto the mat into all fours, toes into the mat, and as you exhale, lift your hips, come to your downward facing dog. So drop your head through your arms. Take a breath in here. Weight into the left foot, release your right leg up into the air. Three-legged dog. Inhale, send your weight forward. And as you exhale, bend your right knee, place it down on the mat behind your right wrist, and your left leg will come down to the mat at the same time. And just use your left toes to encourage that leg to come out towards straight. So in this position, this is an easier version of pigeon because our knee is in line with our heel. So make sure that your left knee is resting on the mat, release the foot. I'll have to get rid of that naughty dog in a minute, and just walk your hands back and lift your chest. So this might be the way that you like pigeon. Maybe you don't want to do pigeon in its full form, but you're still getting a lovely stretch to that psoas muscle here in the hip, and you're lifting your chest. Take a breath here. And then release yourself forward along the mat, release the hands, reach the hands out in front of you. Just take a breath. And then as you inhale, walk your hands back in. Come back to that upright position where you were resting. Your weight is on this right leg, with the leg is now in alignment. And just bring that back leg in. Come back to your all fours. Realign the knees, toes into the mat, come back up to downward facing dog. So we're going to try it again, and it's your choice as to whether you stay with your knee in alignment with the heel or you can come into the full pigeon. So as you inhale, send the left foot into the mat, exhale the right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, bring the right knee down behind the right wrist. Send the right foot over to the left side of the mat. And then start to walk your left foot back. So the difference here is your lower leg is coming into a 45-degree angle, maybe, or if it's very flexible, eventually you'll get it into 90 degrees. So find that pigeon pose where our hands are into the mat. We lift our chest. We're sliding this left leg away. So we're finding that stretch into the hip. And there's another option here. You can take a block and you can place it under your right hip. So even as you try to encourage this leg to come to the side, you can have that extra little bit of support with the block. So that's another option for you. Otherwise, if that feels good, to just encourage the hip to come down to the mat, then walk your hands back towards your hips here. Lift your chest, you're resting on your fingers. So think about a pigeon when you see them with their chests really proud, lifting them forward. Your gaze is forward. Can you relax your shoulders? This might be it. If you want to take it to the next level, maybe you can release your hands and place them on your right thigh. So this is starting to get stronger into the core and the lower back. A little bit of a balance. And if you want to take it to the third level, and by all means stay where you are, but I'll just show you what the next level is. So you breathe in, engage your tummy muscles, release the hands from the thigh, bring them to the heart center. Gaze is forward. Release your hands to the mat and just fold your body forward. Release the hands all along the mat and rest your head. Relaxing into pigeon. Reclined pigeon. So you can see this position of our legs and what we were doing before with our back on the mat and the legs in the air. It was just the opposite move to this. So as you inhale, just walk your hands back to alongside your hips. Walk your left leg in and just ease the legs back into the all fours position. And have a little wiggle. Do whatever feels good here. Send your hips from side to side or in a circular motion. Maybe imagine you've got a pen in your mouth and you're drawing a figure of 8 on the mat. As you ease into those hips. And if you're drawing a figure of 8, change the direction. Or if you're just going in a circle, change the direction. And then come back to your all fours. Let's do all of that on the other side. So toes into the mat, take a breath in, engage the tummy, exhale, hips up to the ceiling, downward facing dog. Take a breath in, right foot to the mat, left foot, left leg up in the air. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, place the left knee behind the left wrist. Remember, we're keeping the foot in alignment with the knee to start with, and walk the right toes away. And just check in. How does one side feel in relation to the other? And then walk your hands back to alongside your thigh. Lift your chest. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Tummy muscles are engaged. You can feel that strength from your belly button all the way up to the throat. Relax the shoulders. Pigeon pose. Proud pigeon. Kapotanasana. Inhale. Exhale. Just fold yourself forward. Release your hands. With a nice stretch as you relax over that thigh. And then inhale, bring your hands all the way back to the side of the knee. Walk that right leg back in, so ease it back in. And then realign into your all fours position. And then we're going to try that again. I'm just going to adjust this angle so I can see all of what you're doing here on pigeon on this side. So from all fours, toes into the mat, take a breath in, exhale, lift your hips, come to downward facing dog. Inhale, weight into the right foot, exhale the left leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Inhale, shift the weight forward, exhale, left knee comes down to the mat. Now this time, we're going to see if we can walk the toes out towards the side of the mat. So you're making that 45 degrees or maybe 90 if you've got quite a bit of flexibility in the hip and the knee. And walk the toes of your right foot back. Remember, you've always got the option with this block, so the block can go under the left hip, or you can just try and release that hip down. So when we're trying to release the hip, it's tempting to send the hip over to the side, but I want you to think about your hips having headlights on them. So we're trying to keep those headlights facing forward. So that changes the feel of it now, because our hips are going forward and it's not so easy to send that hip down to the mat. And that's what we're focusing on doing here. We're trying to drop that left hip to the mat whilst keeping our pelvis facing forward. And then you walk your hands in towards the knee, lift your chest. Find some balance here. Find some ease in the pose. We call it stira and sukha in yoga. Strength and ease. And if you want to try the next level, release your hands onto your thigh, keeping your chest lifted. Well done, brilliant. And then the third level, engage the tummy muscles, release the hands, bring them to the heart center. Keeping the gaze forward. And then release. Well done. So just ease out. Bring the right foot up, take the left foot behind you. Take your knees wide, toes together. Sink back into child's, and this time have your elbows bent so that you really melt down to the mat. Breathing into those hips. Well done. So hip stretches, they can be a challenge, but it's such a good thing to do, because if our hips are tight, then we create a lot more tension in our lower back. And that, so basically our lower back takes all of the load as we're walking, and the whole weight of the body, and we tend to have more back problems. So when people say I've got a bad back and they start working on their back, they should really be working on their hips and easing into the hips. And hips are also an area where we hold quite a lot of emotion. It's very funny that, funny odd, I mean, not funny haha, that sometimes you can do things that involve releasing the hips, and you feel quite emotional when you're releasing them. It's because this area is a big area of energetic release. And releasing the hips can cause that shift in that energy, in those emotions. So slowly bring yourself back up. See if you can just release your legs out in front of you. You're going to come down to semi-supine. Take your feet wide on the mat. Just allow your hands to go out into a T shape, palms facing down. Relax your lower back into the mat. So feel that connection with the whole of the lower back from the sacrum area all the way up the spine to the back of the head. So make sure you're not tilting your chin. And just breathe for a moment. Breathing in, breathing out, and use that exhalation to allow everything to settle into the mat. Feel your shoulders settle. Feel the hips settle. Feel that out breath travel all the way down the legs, down into the soles of the feet. And then take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, allow both knees to drop over to the right-hand side. Keeping your shoulders in contact with the mat, you can take your gaze to your left hand. Just take another breath here. Allow it all to go. Don't grip on with your fingers. There should be no tension there, no tension in your neck, your shoulders, or your hips. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale over to the left. Drop your knees to the left, take your gaze to the right. Just let go. No tension anywhere in the body. Release those hips. They've worked hard this evening. It's amazing when you do some of these stretches and you think that was tight or that seems strong. And then when you get to this exhalation phase, you can just let it go. And there's all of the memories of that strong move disappear. And then inhale, bring your knees back upright, bring your head back to center, and just hug your knees up and over your chest. Just have a little roll here in Kapotanasana, just from left to right, easing out. And then when you're ready, allow your legs to slide out along the mat. Come into your Shavasana. So grab your layers or your blanket and we'll just have a few minutes resting down on the mat. So use your exhalation to release your back body down into the mat. Release your hips, have your feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. Your toes will drop out to the side and that will help to open those hips. Relax your shoulders. Your palms are facing upwards. Just letting go with each exhalation. Releasing from the top of the head, all the way down the neck, down the the spine, your shoulders, your arms and your hands, your hips, the backs of your legs, and your feet. Keep breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Just letting go. Just have a few minutes of silence as we sink deeper into the mat. Release the tension. Start to bring some awareness back to your body now. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. And gently rock your head from side to side. And then allow your head to return to center, and as you breathe in, reach your hands up and overhead. And do a full body stretch, point from your fingers to your toes. And as you exhale, just allow the hands to rest on the floor behind you. Inhale and bend your knees, place your feet flat on the floor. And exhale as you roll over onto your right hand side. Draw your knees up towards your chest. Give yourself a touch. When you're ready, blinking your eyes open, very slowly bringing yourself back up to seated. Both okay? Good. So let's finish with our 3 breaths together, taking our hands out to the side. Inhale, reaching up and overhead. Exhale to the heart center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And this time as you bring your palms together, bend your elbows, bring your thumbs to your forehead. Exhaling your hands down your face, tracing the outline of your nose, your lips, your chin, all the way down to the heart center. Namaste. Well done, both of you. Hope you enjoyed your pigeon